Welcome back to Bible Quizzes. So today we have a quiz based on poetry in the Bible. So let's get started. Round 1, true or false. Each question is worth 1 point. 1. The psalmist makes reference to humanity being gods. True. Psalms 82:6-7. I said you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High, but you shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. 2. The writer of Proverbs prefers a meal of meat in a hateful house to veggies in a blissful house. False. Proverbs 15:17. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a fatted calf with hatred. 3. According to the book of Ecclesiastes, a poor man's wisdom is despised. True. Ecclesiastes 9:16. Then I said, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. 4. Solomon's pseudonym in the book of Ecclesiastes is the preacher. True. Ecclesiastes 1:1. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. 5. In Song of Solomon, the watchman beat the woman who was looking for her beloved. True. Songs of Solomon 5:7. The watchmen who went about the city found me. They struck me, they wounded me. The keepers of the walls took my veil away from me. 6. According to Ecclesiastes, he who observed the wind shall never plant. True. Ecclesiastes 11:4. He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. 7. According to Ecclesiastes, he who increases in knowledge increases in sorrow. True. Ecclesiastes 1:18. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. 8. The writer of Proverbs says the blessings of the Lord makes one rich and adds sorrow. False. Proverbs 10:22. The blessings of the Lord makes one rich, and he who adds no sorrow with it. 9. The writer of Proverbs records that a lazy man says there's a lion in the streets. True. Proverbs 22:13. The lazy man says there's a lion outside. I shall be slain in the streets. 10. The book of Ecclesiastes acknowledges that there are new things on earth. False. Ecclesiastes 1:9. That which has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done, and there is nothing new under the sun. 11. The psalmist records that the voice of the Lord makes the deer to give birth. True. Psalms 29:9. The voice of the Lord makes the deer give birth and strips the forest bare, and in his temple everyone says glory. 12. In the book of Proverbs, it is better to be rich than to have a good name. False. Proverbs 22:1. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, loving favor rather than silver and gold. 13. The psalmist says even if he takes his bed to hell, he still finds God there.
True.
Psalms 139, 7-8. Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. 14. According to the book of Proverbs, he who spares the rod loves his son. False. Proverbs 13:24. He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him promptly. 15. According to the book of Proverbs, the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. True. Proverbs 13:22. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. 16. Ecclesiastes records that the day of birth is better than the day of death. False. Ecclesiastes 7:1. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. 17. Ecclesiastes records that laughter is better than sorrow. False. Ecclesiastes 7:3. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by a sad countenance the heart is made better. 18. According to Ecclesiastes, a dead lion is better than a living dog. False. Ecclesiastes 9:4. But for him who is joined to all the living there is hope, for a living dog is better than a dead lion. 19. Ecclesiastes records that money answers all things. True. Ecclesiastes 10:19. A feast is made for laughter, and wine makes merry, but money answers everything. 20. Proverbs says that it is better to meet a bear robbed of its cubs than to meet a fool. True. Proverbs 17:12. Let a man meet a bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. Round 2. Multiple choice. Every question is worth 2 points. 21. What is the main theme of the Book of Songs of Solomon? Wisdom, grief, love, or patience? Love. The entire Book of Songs of Solomon talks about love. 22. Who is the main writer of the Book of Proverbs? Solomon, David, Moses, or Jeremiah? Solomon. Proverbs 1:1. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. 23. Which poetic book focuses on empathy and grief? Psalms, Lamentations, Proverbs, or Songs of Solomon? Lamentations. Lamentations 1:1. How lonely sits a city that was full of people. How like a widow is she, who was great among the nations. A princess among the provinces has become a slave. 24. Who among the following is not among the writers of the Book of Psalms? Asaph, David, Moses, or Amos? Amos. David wrote a majority of the Psalms, including Psalms 23. Asaph wrote a portion of Psalms, including Psalms 50. Moses wrote a few Psalms, including Psalms 90. Amos is not among the listed writers of the Book of Psalms. 5. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. From which chapter has this verse been quoted? Psalms 1, 23, 51, or 91? Psalms 23. Psalms 23:2. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. 26. Which chapter of Psalms talks about the unity of brothers? 133, 127, 1, or 131? Psalms 133, 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. 27. What does the psalmist compare the unity of brothers to? Sunshine, moonlight, dew of Hermon, or river flowing? Dew of Hermon, Psalms 133, 3. It is like the dew of Hermon descending upon the mountains of Zion, for there the Lord commanded the blessing life forevermore. 28. To which woman does the writer of Songs of Solomon write to? Shunammite girl, Samaritan girl, Shulamite girl, or Queen of Sheba? Shulamite girl. Songs of Solomon 1:1. Solomon's love for the Shulamite girl, the Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. 29. As the blank pants for the water, so my soul pants for you, O God. Cow, lion, donkey, or deer? Deer. Psalms 42:1. As the deer pants for the water brooks, so pants my soul for you, O God. 30. To which mountain does the psalmist compares to those who trust in the Lord? Mount Hermon, Ararat, Zion, or Sinai? Mount Zion. Psalms 125:1. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be moved but abides forever. 31. What is the theme of Proverbs 31? Charming woman, virtuous wife, obedient son, or strange woman? Virtuous wife. Proverbs 31:10. Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. 32. What does the writer of Proverbs say is the beginning of wisdom? Knowledge, grace of God, fear of the Lord, or love of God? Fear of the Lord. Proverbs 9:10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. 33. To which animal does the writer of Proverbs compare the boldness of the righteous? A lion, bear, elephant, or unicorn? Lion. Proverbs 28:1. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as the lion. 34. When the psalmist lifts his eyes to the hills, where does he say his help comes from? North, heavens, hills, or the Lord? From the Lord. Psalms 121:1-2. I lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence comes my help? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. 35. The psalmist compares the magnitude of God's riches to a cattle on how many hills? 100, 10, 10,000, or 1,000? "1,000 hills." Psalms 50:10. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. 6. Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, blank. She shall be loved, praised, blessed, or gifted. Praised. Proverbs 31:30. Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. 37. Where is this verse found? Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly. Psalms 23, Psalms 42, Psalms 131, or Psalms 1? Psalms 1. Psalms 1:1. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. 8. What does the psalmist compare the ungodly to in Psalms 1? Chaff, thorns, ugly stones, or sand? Chaff. Psalms 1:4. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind drives away. 39. As iron sharpens iron, so a man blank. Sharpens his friend's axe, sharpens his new axe, sharpens his friend's countenance, or sharpens his friendships. Sharpens his friend's countenance. Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. 40. To what does the writer of Proverbs liken a contentious woman? Cold blanket, continual dripping on a very rainy day, strong wind, or barking dog? Continual dripping on a very rainy day. Proverbs 27:15. A continual dripping on a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. 41. Which is not among the 7 things the Lord hates as recorded in Proverbs? Foolish heart, proud look, lying tongue, or false witness? Foolish heart. Proverbs 6:17. A proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that are swift in running to evil, a false witness who speaks lies, and one who sows discord among brethren. 42. What does the woman of Songs of Solomon liken to the love of her lover do? Milk, honey, wine, or life? Wine. Songs of Solomon 1:2. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is better than wine. 43. Complete this idiomatic expression. I'm the rose of Sharon and the lily of the blank. Mountains, valleys, fields, or wilderness? Valleys. Songs of Solomon 2:1. I'm the rose of Sharon and the lily of the valleys. 44. What style has the writers of Songs of Solomon used predominantly? Narrative, monologue, dialogue, or allegory? Dialogue. The writers of the Song of Solomon predominantly use the dialogue style throughout the entire book. 45. What does the lover liken the breasts of his beloved to? 2 grapes, 2 roses, 2 fawns, or 2 apples? Fawns. Songs of Solomon 7:3. Your 2 breasts are like 2 fawns, twins of a gazelle. 46. What does Psalms 23 talk about? God's protection and provision, God's wrath and judgment, beauty of God's creation, or majesty of God's power? God's protection and provision. Psalms 23 talks about God's provision and protection. Psalms 23, 1-3. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. 47. What is the mood of the psalmist in Psalms 51? Repentant, grateful, joyful, or angry? Repentant. In Psalms 51, the psalmist is repentant throughout the chapter. Psalms 51:1. Have mercy upon me, O God, according to your loving kindness, according to the multitude of your tender mercies. Blot out my transgression. What does the psalmist say are the sacrifices that God doesn't despise according to Psalms 51? burnt offerings and peace offerings, thanksgivings and grain offerings, silver and gold and precious metals, or a broken spirit and contrite heart. Broken spirit and contrite heart. Psalms 51:17. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. These, O God, you will not despise. 49. What does the Proverbs say is the principal thing? Love, riches, kindness, or wisdom? Wisdom. Proverbs 4:7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and in all you're getting, get understanding. 50. What does the writer of Proverbs say a good man leaves for his children? Knowledge, love, inheritance, or mercy? Inheritance. Proverbs 13:22. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteousness. 51. Which book records times and seasons that exist under the sun? Psalms, Proverbs, Lamentations, or Ecclesiastes? Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. 52. Whose teeth does the psalmist say God has broken in Psalms 3? Poor, proud, ungodly, or the fool? Ungodly. Psalms 3:7. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God, for you have struck all my enemies on the cheekbone. You have broken the teeth of the ungodly. 53. What does the deep call into? Sky, forest, deep, or mountain? The deep. Psalms 42:7. Deep calls unto deep at the noise of your waterfalls. All your waves and billows have gone over me. 54. Which is the longest chapter in the book of Psalms? Psalms 18, 119, 150, or 121? Psalms 119. Psalms 119 is the longest psalm with 176 verses. 55. How many proverbs did Solomon write? 30,000, 1,005, 3,000, or 300? First Kings 44:32. He, Solomon, spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own riches, own understanding, own strength, or own heart. Own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. 7. What does the writer of Proverbs liken a beautiful woman who lacks understanding to? A ring of gold in a swine's snout, bitter water to a thirsty man, thorn in the side, or fruitless tree? Ring of gold in a swine's snout. Proverbs 11:22. As a ring of gold in a swine's snout, so is a lovely woman who lacks discretion. 58. Where there is no blank, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Vision, justice, food, or governance? Vision. Proverbs 29:18. Where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. 59. What does the psalmist say he has never seen since he was young till he is old? Wicked prosper, sun stop shining, righteous forsaken, or poor dying young? Righteous forsaken. Psalms 37:25. I have been young and now I'm old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his descendants begging bread. 60. Which among the following is not among the four small wonders that do mighty things? Ants, spiders, locusts, or scorpions? Scorpions. Proverbs 30:24-28. There are four things which are little on the earth, but they are exceedingly wise. The ants, the rock badgers, the locusts have no king, yet they all advance in ranks in the spider. Round 3. Short answer. Each question is worth 3 points. 61. What has sending a sluggard been compared to? Vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes. Proverbs 10:26. As vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so is the lazy man to those who send them. 62. What will happen to the expectations of the wicked? It will perish. Proverbs 10:28. The hope of the righteous will be gladness, but the expectations of the wicked will perish. 63. Between the house of mourning and that of feast, which one should one prioritize? The house of mourning. Ecclesiastes 7:2. Better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will take it to heart. 64. According to Ecclesiastes, why are two better than one? They have a good reward for their labor. Ecclesiastes 4:9. Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. Again, if two lie down together, they will keep warm, but how can one be warm alone? 65. What does the writer of the Song of Solomon say their little sister lacks? Breasts. Song of Solomon 8:8. We have a little sister, and she has no breasts. What shall we do for our sister in the day when she is spoken for? 66. What does the writer of Song of Solomon say is stronger than death? Love. Songs of Solomon 8:6-7. Set me as a seal upon your heart, as a seal upon your arm, for love is as strong as death. Jealousy as cruel as the grave, its flames are flames of fire, a most vehement flame, many waters cannot quench love. 67. He who finds a wife finds blank, and obtains favor from the Lord. A good thing. Proverbs 18:22. He who finds a wife finds a good thing, and obtains favor from the Lord. 68. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is blank. Blessed is the man who trusts in him. Good. Psalms 34:8. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who trusts in him. 69. In which book is the verse found? I was glad when they said to me, let us go into the house of God. Psalms 122:1. I was glad when they said to me, let us go into the house of the Lord. 70. How many chapters are there in the book of Proverbs? — 31 chapters. The book of Proverbs has 31 chapters. 71. While a wise son makes his father glad, what does a foolish son bring to his mother? Grief. Proverbs 10:1. A wise son makes a glad father, but a foolish son is the grief of his mother. 72. Who is the main audience of the Proverbs of Solomon? His son. The book of Proverbs contains many verses that addresses the son of the persona. Example, Proverbs 1:8. My son, hear the instruction of your father, and do not forsake the law of your mother. 73. He shall be like a tree planted blank of water that brings forth its fruit in season. By the rivers. Psalms 1:3. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that brings forth its fruit in its season, whose leaf also shall not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper. 74. During which phase of life should one remember their Creator? Youthful phase. Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now your Creator in the days of your youth, before the difficult days come, and the years draw near when you say, I have no pleasure in them. 75. What does the psalmist say will follow him all the days of his life in Psalms 23? Goodness and mercy. Psalms 23:6. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. 76. According to the Psalms 127, what do the watchmen of a city do if the Lord is not watching the city? Watchman stays awake in vain. Psalms 127:1. Unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. Unless the Lord guards the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. 77. According to the Proverbs 31, why should strong drink be given to he who is perishing? So he can forget his poverty and misery. Proverbs 31:6-7. Give strong drink to him who is perishing, and wine to those who are bitter of heart. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his misery no more. 78. There is a way that seems right to a man, but it ends in the way of blank. Death. Proverbs 14:12. There's a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. 79. What does the book of Proverbs says comes before destruction? Pride. Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. 80. What does the book of Ecclesiastes say is the conclusion of all matters? Fear God and keep his commandments. Ecclesiastes 12:13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the man's all. That's all the questions for today, so remember, post your scores down below and compare it to your friends and families, and then we'll see you in the next one.